KNUS Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't understand why
agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Six a.m. in the Mile High City on this Friday, July 18th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations, you're waking up in the greatest country in history. Let's kick it off. We got a great show for you today as we're going to talk with Steffan Tubbs here in a minute, get an update on the James Craig trial. This is the dentist that allegedly poisoned his wife via protein shakes and medicine, cyanide, in order to kill her in an effort to start a new life with another dentist, orthodontist. He met 3 weeks prior, exchanged 4,000 text messages.
You know, my friend recently had to get some dental work done, and I switched offices, and the hygienist is new, and she's talking about, oh, yeah, and I saw, you're relatively new here, only been here about a year, and where'd you go beforehand? Well, isn't that an interesting story? and as I told her, her eyes got big and wide. Yeah, that was a fun conversation. It's like, really? Yeah, that was fun.
And speaking of doing stupid things to cover an affair, dude, everybody is talking about this.
This is crazy. Yes. Here's the thing. Okay,
the guy at the Coldplay concert.
Yes, the Coldplay concert where the affair was exposed because of the reaction. This is hilarious. In fact, Adam and I were talking about it. How yesterday both of us saw on social media after like 2 or 3 of our friends posted some sort of obscure reference to it. We're like, something's going on. And so we checked. My favorite was a buddy of mine, he was in radio, posted, marked himself safe from having his affair exposed at a Coldplay concert. And I went, okay, I got to figure out what this is now. That's the one that made me click. There are a couple other friends. Shout out to Dan Hardy over the mountain. He had a great meme that was running yesterday on it. So yeah, it was kind of cool. It was cool.
I saw a meme it was a picture of a movie star from a Wolf of Wall Street, just looking angrily at the camera, right? That's just the kind of background on it. But it says, what do you mean we lost clients due to a Coldplay concert?
Program director over at the Mountain, Dan Hardy, a friend of mine, he posted the meme yesterday where it's kind of that older guy. You've seen it you get on Shutterstock where he's sitting behind a computer and he's got that smile. Everything's fine. Yeah. And so the meme was, my wife is out late tonight because they have a team building event at the Coldplay concert. She says she's so tired, she's just going to sleep over. She works so hard.
So if you're wondering what we're talking about, the whole internet's talking about this, and they didn't have to.
No.
If the couple had just gone, hey, waved, nobody would have known.
Okay, my man, that is perfect because, Adam Walker, who's down in our video room, that's exactly what he was talking about this morning. He's like, didn't you know the rule about when you're speeding past a cop? Last thing you do is hit the brakes. Don't create a spectacle. Just keep going. If you just own it, just keep going. If they would have just not tried to hit the brakes, they might have been okay.
This is from Fox News, by the way. What was supposed to be a romantic moment caught on the kiss cam during a Coldplay concert has launched allegations of an affair. During the band's performance at Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts on Wednesday, Martin serenaded the crowd with an improv version of the Jumbotron song, where he sang about couples featured live on the big screen. One pair's reaction raised eyebrows, and the 48-year-old Chris Martin couldn't help but comment, "Whoa, look at those two," Martin said, as a woman and man were seen cozying up to one another once the attention was on the pair. By the way, this is like a huge, four-story
basically
screen.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's if you've been to the sporting arenas, you've seen the kiss cam that they do during it. Or maybe you've been paying attention to that, chaos commercial, the guy that creates mayhem, and he talks about, hey, I'm the guy that's going to be sitting next to your girl at the kiss cam, and then the fire starts in the background of the dad barbecuing. So that's the reference point. Is the idea is they're showing the camera on you, and you got to kiss the girl next to you. Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Once the attention was on the pair, the woman immediately turned away and dodged the camera. The man also exited the frame. Chris Martin joked to the audience, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. Online sleuths claim the gray-haired man and blonde woman are the astronomer CEO Andy Byron and his chief people officer, Kristen Cabot. What's interesting, though, about this is that they're not married to each other.
Not to each other. They're married. It's just not to each other. That's the issue here. Yeah. Yeah, that was shocking. And again, it was based on their reaction, and it goes viral because of that. And I love the fact that even Chris Martin in the moment was like, oh, this is unusual. Yeah, this is crazy. And I can't believe you were talking about your kids were mentioning it on social media. Yeah. I mean, my kids as well.
They're middle school and they heard about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the weird convergence of all of these influences in our lives where it can go from gray hair me to a little bit younger Jeff down to Jeff's young kids through my kids that are in their 20s and late teens all the way down to his middle schoolers. That's crazy that universally we've all seen that. That doesn't happen very often.
And comments were interesting. My feed is made up oftentimes of pastors and pastors reflecting, they kind of condemn themselves. Nobody needed to point out, oh, look, you two are having an affair. You just needed a little bit of spotlight, and lo and behold, you did this to yourself.
Yeah, that's true. As soon as the spotlight was on you, you reacted, well, as you should, with the shame and guilt that is appropriate for the moment. Yes, absolutely.
I saw, too, that the wife of the CEO, so the wife of the man, has removed his name from her Facebook page.
I bet he's also going to be removed from some documents like home ownership, co-ownership of the bank account, custody. There's probably going to be a lot of things his name's going to be removed from in the coming months.
Someone referred to him online as the canoodling CEO.
That's great. That is fantastic. You know what I feel bad for is I don't remember the name of the company, but the people that work there.
Astronomer.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Thank you. And imagine if you worked there, you're like, crap.
You know what it reminds me of is when, who is that Democrat presidential candidate that got caught in the stairwell? He was really good looking, and he
is it Edwards?
Yes,
yeah.
John
Edwards. Yeah,
he had the affair with the photographer, the film person that was following him around, and then he goes to visit her in the hotel, and they catch him.
Yeah,
and they chase him around the stairwell.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Just running away.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's one thing to do naughty stuff. It's another thing to get caught publicly.
Yes,
for the whole world.
Exactly.
I mean, they weren't even expecting this. No, they're just going to a show.
Yeah.
Now the entire country's middle school kids are talking about them.
Yes, everybody knows. Yeah, and imagine trying to apply for jobs after that, too. Again.
Oh, the memes around trying to go to work the next day?
Oh, absolutely. It's in some ways, I was thinking about those people at the company. It's kind of like you're like, ooh, man, I work at Enron. This isn't good. This is not good. Maybe I can't wear my Enron shirt to the country club for a while. It's just not going to work out so well. Yeah, that's what I was thinking the entire time. Like all those people, because there are a whole bunch of people there that are working hard that now they're like, well, crap. This is going to be hard introducing myself because everyone's going to know, oh, that's CEO. However, I will say that performance reviews, everybody should get a gold star this time around because, given the performance of the CEO, there's a lot of leeway as far as what's allowed.
Bill, your wife works in crisis communications, PR, so you've been around it.
Oh, yeah.
What would your advice be to this couple at this point?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. The first one is pull back a little bit and hang out and let it bubble for just a little bit. But again, the hard part is you've got to come out, and my advice would be come out and own it. Come out and say,
eat the crow while it's still warm.
Yep, come out, mistake. I've learned a lot. We need to do this. The thing's going forward, and I'm going to try to repair the relationship. And then that's where I would go. Is it would have to be a forward thinking that this is a moment where I am now going to change, and you got to set a path forward. So the idea is try to take away conversations about the past. Instead, make the conversation about where you're going in the future. So you're trying to change the narrative. That's what I would try to do. And it's just like every time I hear from politicians saying, well, now is not the time to discuss what happened. No. That's the dumbest way to phrase that. You don't do it that way. You say, we are all concerned and we are going to do everything we can to find out why this happened. But going forward, we need to do. That's how you answer that. As soon as a politician says, now is not the time to shut up. You don't know what you're doing about it. Because you can do that without saying those words. That's the issue, is you've got to acknowledge the mistake, but you have to chart a path forward. That's how you get out of this with as little tar and feathering as possible. But it's impossible to get out of this thing clean. That's the thing.
I guess this guy hasn't been the greatest boss to work with.
I'm so surprised.
Folks are reporting that text groups and chains of former employees are like, everyone's laughing their heinies off and enjoying the heck out of what's happened and him getting exposed. Byron apparently was accused of having a reputation of being a toxic and aggressive employer.
So you say the guy that's stepping out in the life and actually going to a concert with someone that's a fellow employee that probably is against some of the company's rules, maybe not that, just the morals and ethics, may not be a good boss. Wow, that's a shocker. Not like anybody who's ever been an employee has seen that before, where you're like, this boss is kind of a jerk, and you're like, oh yes, he's also a jerk in his private life. That's interesting. Yes, that happens all the time. I can name names, but I won't this morning.
It's got to be interesting. I've never worked for an employer where everything changed overnight like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I could think you work at New Life and you got to deal with the Ted Haggard thing the next morning.
God, yeah.
Or this thing, or you work for a politician who gets caught, There was one politician, remember, that used to text message with the pages.
Oh, yeah. Forgot what his name was, but
I forget his name too. But it was so bad that, like, literally the next day nobody wants to work with him.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't imagine having to
try to dig out of that
work
hole.
the next day.
Oh, yeah. Say, how do I possibly repair this? Yeah. How do you working with Enron,
search for
working
a
with
new
the others?
job?
Yeah.
I have worked for a boss that lost an election, and the next morning you're just like, LinkedIn, open to work.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're like, well, this job goes away. And I've actually been in those where it's like, the meeting, at the end of the meeting, they're like, yes, this radio station doesn't exist anymore. You're like, well, okay. However, this is the fun part. There, I do have a story in my background where, again, the CEO of the company, fairly obtuse as far as interpersonal relationships at the time, was bragging about the new, very, very expensive sports car that he had purchased 5 days before, even brought it into the office to show people. That was the same day that he fired half the staff.
Oh.
Yeah. And again, I understand how finances work. His bucket of money is not the same bucket of money as the company.
Yeah.
However, the optics of the guy in charge having a big, fancy, super expensive new sports car, showing up at the office and days later firing half the staff, the optics on that is atrocious. And we were given pink slips. I was included in the people that were let go. We were given pink slips. One of the most glorious visuals I still have in my mind is walking down out of the elevator after leaving the building and seeing everybody else's pink slips piled up on top of his car. I left mine there too. Just saying. Left mine there too.
Well, join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us at Dan Caplis Law, text line 720-819-5115. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good morning. TGIF 63 and mostly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 90 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities at Lennox Equipment. Our top story.
The left is making a mistake going all in on this Epstein BS. You did nothing to release any information about this case on your watch.
That's Chris Cuomo, and he's right. DJT on Truth Social. Last night, the Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam, that he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did it anyway, and now I'm going to sue his arse off. And I added that. And his third-rate newspaper, 47, also posted that he has asked AG Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony, release it, subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated, by the Democrats should end right now.
We're talking about Donald Trump, attack the Pope, attack John McCain, Access Hollywood, etc. So although this story was built up in advance as something with new information, it certainly has new information. I'm not sure, even if somehow it's authenticated, I'm not sure that it's going to have any political impact on this particular president who has walked through a lot worse than this.
That's Mark Halperin. The House voting to pass a package of $9 billion in DOJ spending cuts. They voted 216 to 213 to approve the cuts that included public broadcasting. TSA opening 2 new airport security screening lanes. The honor lane for military and their families, along with the lane for families traveling. The daughter of murder suspect, Dennis James Craig, says her father ordered her to create fake evidence following her mother's death. Annabelle Craig testified Thursday in the trial of her father, James Craig. She told the jury her father sent her a handwritten letter after his arrest outlining steps she was to take to make it seem like her mother was suicidal. That included paying someone to create deepfake videos of her mother asking Craig to order cyanide, arsenic, and other poisons. Craig is facing first-degree murder and other charges for allegedly poisoning and killing his wife in 2023. And as we know, he was Billy's dentist and also Steffan Tubbs' dentist. That is horrific. If you're receiving text messages about unpaid tickets, it's a scam. The Colorado DMV says once again, they do not text or email anyone who owes money. Protect all your financial info and do not contact them. And if you made the mistake of contacting them, make sure you let police or local law enforcement know so they can look into it and hopefully investigate. OpenAI is rolling out a new AI tool called ChatGPT Agent designed to perform complex tasks using its own virtual computer. The tool can manage calendars, plan meals, and buy ingredients, or even create presentation slides. It launched Thursday and now available to ChatGPT Pro Plus and Team users. Former comedian Stephen Colbert last night.
I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And yeah, I share your feelings. It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away. And I do want to say that the folks at CBS have been great partners.
One more time, Stephen. You weren't funny anymore. Maybe you were funny 15 years ago. Maybe. I don't know. He had Adam Schiff as his guest. Unbelievable. Adam Shifty Schiff. 62 in Centennial, 61 in Arvada, 63 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Temperatures will stay in the 80s today. There will be a few widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Not as many as the last day or two, but a few will pop up. Low to mid-60s for lows. Back to the lower 90s Friday. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms. A good chance of thunderstorms. Low 90s Saturday. Few thunderstorms. Low 90s Sunday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. During the 6 o'clock hour, during the duration of the trial, we're going to be giving you the latest updates on the James Craig dentist accused of poisoning his wife. Here's CNN from yesterday's testimony. Dentist accused of fatally poisoning his wife asked his daughter to create deep fake videos of mom asking for the chemicals. I'm just so confounded by who thinks this is a good strategy. A daughter of James Craig, the Colorado dentist accused of fatally poisoning his wife and the mother of their children, testified Thursday that her father asked her to make it seem like her mother wanted Craig to order the ingredients, which ultimately led to her death. Craig gave step-by-step instructions in a letter for how to create a deepfake video of his wife. The daughter testified deepfakes are inauthentic images, videos, or audio recordings created by artificial intelligence that appear real but have been digitally manipulated or faked. I love you. I'm sorry to even ask for your help for this, Prosecutor Michael Marraro read in an excerpt of the letter, which the daughter testified was written in her father's handwriting. I don't what wasn't the argument that he bought these to challenge her because she wanted to commit suicide, so he wanted to see how far she was willing to go, but now he wants his daughter to create fake videos?
Yeah, it started out supposed to be a game of chicken that he was like, you want to kill yourself? Okay, I'll buy the stuff for you. And now she's now deep fakes. And you're asking, and here's the other part that I'm super curious about is that you're reaching out to your children. Now, you understand that child has also lost one of their parents at this time, and you're asking that child to then create fake images of the parent they lost.
I got to be honest, I haven't been in news that long, but I can't ever remember anybody's defense being this stupid.
Just the idea that the planks of the defense seem to argue with each other. That's the part that's weird to me. Is it's almost as if they're like, well, we hope they believe some of this. We don't know what it's going to believe, but hopefully some of this they'll
throw
believe.
Stuff against the wall.
Yeah, the spaghetti defense, yes.
He wasn't trying to get out of the marriage. He'd been out of the marriage the entire time.
Yes.
Cheating multiple times. Well,
he still loved her and wanted to make sure that she was, and then bought the, I don't know.
So he's been tracking it since the very beginning, has done a podcast about it. I think been featured on either 40 Hours or 2020, one of them, but he's going to be talking about it this Saturday from 7 to 9, filling in for John Caldera. You know the name, you know the voice. Steffan Tubbs joins us this morning. Steffan, good morning. Thanks for being on the Jeff
Good morning,
Show.
friend.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to always be with you. This, Jeff, you just said you haven't been in news that long. I wonder if they're all that stupid or how stupid it. This is one of the stupidest I have ever seen, ever. And it just so happens was my former dentist. He's Billy's dentist. Yeah, I loved her. In opening statements, the defense says, yeah, this marriage has been going on for 23 years, and Jim Craig has been cheating for 23 years. And, is that going to be endearing to the jury? You won't like him, but he really didn't poison her. This is the most ludicrous. And then you get to, as you guys were talking about just a moment ago about yesterday, to get the kid involved, to try to have it's unimaginable to me.
And how does that persuade the jurors? What are the jurors are thinking? They're going, wait, this guy's trying to persuade his children to create a deep fake about mom. I mean, seriously, I'm looking at this going, you need to make this guy sympathetic so they don't want to put him in jail for the rest of his life. That's what you need to do. Yeah.
Right. I think, when this happened in March of 23, and I'm on the air at KNUS and I'm following this, and I'm just as stunned as you are, Bill, and we're following this every day. And we, Crowley and I started that Arsenic DDS podcast, and Brockler and me, we ended up doing the 48 hours thing. And, it was kooky then. I mean, and obviously I don't mean to belittle the fact that we are talking about a woman who suffered so much for, over the course of 2 weeks, just physically, not to mention maybe the mental part of suffering in a marriage, a loveless marriage, or maybe that's what the defense is trying to say. It was a love-filled marriage with a flawed husband. But suffice it to say, this has been one of the most bizarre cases that I've certainly been a part of, that I've followed, and I just don't know what is going to be. We always wondered what the defense was going to be, and if one of the defenses is, yeah, she wanted to poison herself, and she's this sick, and she was playing chicken or whatever for years and years, and now are we all supposed to believe she killed herself? It's crazy.
The CNN report continues. The letter's directions, this is the letter from the dentist to his daughter, included buying a cheap laptop, installing a private network and dark web browser, and paying for the project with a prepaid Visa gift card. The daughter testified the video must appear to have been made in the weeks before Angela Craig's death. He also asked her to burn the video to thumb drives and let an investigator know she found them in her mother's bag, all before destroying the laptop. The letter said the second oldest daughter out of 6 children was chosen to do this favor because she is the most like her mother, stoic and practical, and is technologically adept. In cross-examination, she admitted the letter was disappointing, confusing, and made her feel a lot of emotions. Yeah, no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, the 20-year-old daughter said she was living at home at the time her mother became sick, and she drove her to and from emergency rooms to be treated, all while taking care of her younger siblings. In one instance, she found her mother almost fainted on the floor of the bathroom. She was super tired and super out of it. Craig's oldest daughter also testified Thursday, revealing her father did not want an autopsy to be conducted on her mother. We got a text message from somebody in law enforcement that just said this is a slow walk to a guilty plea. That maybe eventually they'll get there.
Yeah, and listen, even if they don't, Jeff and Bill, he has nothing to lose. Your governor, Jared Polis, abolish the death penalty. There's nothing this man has to fear. Nothing. And, we're talking with the daughter testifying yesterday. Another part of the case is, he tried to put a hit out on the lead detective from Aurora PD.
Right.
I mean, again, it's, as you guys have alluded to, it's just, what is the defense going to be? What may stick today? He is just absolutely, to me, on his way to being found not guilty. And if this, I don't know what else is going to be presented. I'm going to try to get into court early this morning, and then I'll talk about it tomorrow morning on the air. But I'll tell you, I don't know how long the jury deliberations are going to take, but I would be surprised if it was very long.
Yeah, and I was surprised with the idea that there was testimony that came out that said, first of all, and I think you meant guilty, not guilty a minute ago, but that's we know what you meant. That came out. I don't know, please, the 4 hours that I misspeak on here every day. I mean, seriously, it's a big deal. So the idea is, I just went in case anybody was like, wait, Steffan said. I just wanted to point that out. That no, you were saying something else. Now, thought it was interesting that. One, this is a guy who obviously his alleged murder plot went so well, he now decides, hey, I know. How about I try to put a hit out on the police officer? Because, my criminal mastermind plots have so far provided nothing but rainbows and fruit. And of all of my no, not at all. You screw up the first one. Now you're trying to get a second one. The other one in testimony I saw yesterday was the fact that he showed up at a warehouse looking for some of the poison, asking to see if they had a storefront because he needed it that quickly. Yeah, the company was pushing back on him because he didn't reach out to them with a business email address. It was a Gmail, and they can't ship to just anybody. They've got to ship to an authorized medical. Yeah, so he had a problem with it, and he actually showed up at one of the warehouses asking if they had a storefront because he needed to purchase it. And I'm sorry, if someone comes up saying, I need this toxic substance and I need it right now, maybe you're not the person that needs the toxic substance right now. Maybe there's an issue there. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Steffan,
you know what? I think. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to make one observation, and this is a possibility. I'll probably sound like a smartass, but I am being serious. Jim Craig, if you're listening to KNUS right now, please know that any of the three of us will sit down with you, no matter what happens in your case. We'll sit down with you, and we'd really like to give you the opportunity to tell your story. Because a lot of times during trials, people, the narcissistic individuals like a Jim Craig, will try to eat up as much as they can of the coverage. I don't think he may or may not have access to television. Maybe he has access to a radio. You know who had access to the radio in the 90s was Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah.
When his trial was going on, he was listening from his cell. So Jim Craig, I'm being serious. I'm sure that any of the three of us would certainly sit down with you, regardless of the fact we think that you're a cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah.
Well, and that was going to be my question, because I remember you telling me that, Steffan, that you actually heard from Timothy McVeigh's attorneys that Tim was listening to your coverage of his trial. And have you talked with James Craig since he's been indicted?
No, I haven't. I had eye contact with him during, literally, it was court appearance number one for what was that, late March of 2023. I then subsequently kind of followed the protocol when I was doing my show at KNUS. I followed the protocol where you have to send a letter. So even though it was like I'm sending a letter literally 2 miles to a location 2 miles away, it actually goes to Maryland and then is sent back to Colorado because I think they screen it or something. So I had written him a letter saying, hey, listen, you are always nice to me. And this is before, obviously, we even knew this was going to go to trial. And I never heard anything back, which is not shocking. But that first time being in court, and here he comes in his jumpsuit and shackles and having eye contact. I know I said this on the air 100 times when I was doing the show. I looked away. It was just too bizarre. I'm like, it was kind of like this showdown, a stare down. And I'm like, you win. You are creepy. Last time I had eye contact with you, you gave me a root canal, and we talked about the news, and we talked about your kids. And so anyway, no, long answer. Sorry, Jeff, but I had never been able to make any contact with him.
That's Steffan Tubbs, former host here on 710 KNUS. He's going to be filling in for John Caldera this Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m. Steffan, give us a little preview of what you're going to be talking about.
Well, one of the things that I want to do is play maybe just a handful of highlights, quote unquote, highlights of opening statements with the Jim Craig trial, and a couple from the defense as well. and it'll be kind of proof that you can tell the defense, they're grasping at straws here, and we'll play some of that for you. Yeah, it'll be nice to be back. I think Chris Carroll's going to be there, and our production guy, and it'll be nice to be back on KNUS for the second time since I left.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
I talked to some reporters that were in the courtroom yesterday, and they were saying, well, you got to give the defense a little bit of leeway. They haven't been on this case that long, and they've been dealing with their own personal issues. Yeah, they're right. They lit their own house on fire.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I'll get more into that tomorrow as well. It's just so I don't know what else, in this trial is supposed to be, I think, total of 3 weeks. What else is going to come up next week or today or what have you? But, at the end of the day, I've said this from Jump Street, don't forget the 6 kids, even though the majority of the kids in the Craig family are 18 or over, they all lost their mother, for God's sake. And don't forget the suffering that Angela Craig, she was dying for the better part of 2 weeks, and he was trying to, in my opinion, kill her every step of the way.
Wow. Now, here's the thing, Steffan, I appreciate you bringing that up there because I haven't talked too much with Jeff on this on air. We've talked a little off air about it, and that's one of the things that has bothered me about this trial is the impact on the children. Is I keep thinking these kids, some are adults, some aren't, are still minors, but what I keep thinking of is how this impacts their view of relationships and their trust inside of a romantic relationship, because these are kids that saw the one relationship that should be the lodestone, the guiding north star for them going forward, how to build a successful, stable family. There were troubles inside the marriage, and we have lots and lots of people that have grown up in those type of situations. But now you have a point in which apparently dad unalived mom. And how do you deal with that? Because one, when you start to get into a relationship with someone, this may, if you're talking about something in Colorado or the Western U.S., there may be enough attention. If we go a couple of years down the road because of, I'm firmly convinced because the attorney lit his house on fire, there's going to be some sort of movie or made-for-TV movie. That's just too good to pass up as far as the narrative for someone to tell. So there will be something made of this. There's going to be a TV show. There's going to be a movie. There's going to be a mini-series. They've got to be the kid. Yeah. Yep, they've got to be the kid that then references that. And how does that individual child find trust inside of a romantic relationship, because the one they grew up with ended so tragically? This for me is having ripples and effects on these child's lives that we can't even imagine forever. And it really breaks my heart, and I'm glad you brought it up.
No, couldn't agree with you more, Billy, at all. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, 7 to 9. Who am I filling in for? Who does that? That Caldera guy.
Oh, that Caldera guy. Yeah, that guy.
You guys have a great Friday, and thanks, and say hi to Blake for me.
Well, no, that's Balake to you. Remember, that's how we pronounce it now.
Balake. Senor Olsen.
Yes. Have a great one, Steffan. Thanks, man.
Steffan Tubbs filling in tomorrow for John Caldera, 7 to 9, and then Pete Boyles from 9 to 1 is going to be talking about Colorado's own version of the Epstein list with the Players and Sugars Club.
A murderer's row radio lineup on Saturday. Steffan Tubbs, then Peter Boyles. Yeah, dissecting this from every single angle. Yeah, you got to tune into this one.
And we all recognize we're just one day away from becoming our own Stephen Colbert's at any moment. So enjoy it while you can, because you never know. You never know.
Never know.
This business, you never know. We've got a whole lot to talk about. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. If you are on this jury so far as the court trial has played itself out for James Craig, would you vote to convict? Is it time for him to do the time? Or is it, there's a little sense there that he may be innocent. Maybe he's not guilty. You have reasonable doubt. Text message is coming in on this. The dentist Craig case is a perfect example why we should still have the death penalty. The case is a complete waste of time, and if this guy was facing death for first-degree murder, he may have taken the plea deal to avoid this trial, and we wouldn't be wasting time. So maybe the feckless legislature can work on this. 0459, you're exactly right.
Now, here's the thing is, I may disagree with some of our audience on the effectiveness or the deterrence of the death penalty or even the role that it has in society. However, what has convinced me that it can be valuable is exactly what the texter points out, is that talking to, and again, good friend of the show, George Brockler, he did a really nice deep dive with me when we were working together about how having something like the death penalty is an important negotiating tool when you're trying to go to trial. He said these are the heaviest lifts. These are some of the most difficult trials. There are lots of things that can go sideways, and you need to come correct when you're coming into these trials. And he said taking the ability off the table for the district attorney to negotiate over the death penalty is a real detriment for them finding justice. So while I may or may not agree on the use or how we should be using the death penalty as a deterrent, I do believe it is incredibly valuable for that the texture points out, that is a negotiation tool, that it is something that is the sort of Damocles that sits above someone that is accused of this crime, and it sits above them, and it does make different choices. It absolutely does. So even if you disagree with the idea of the death penalty, take a little bit of a minute, maybe sit down and do what I did and examine how in certain scenarios it can be a useful and valuable tool to find something that you might be more amenable to, which would be life in prison, and you would get something else out of it on the other end. I'm just saying that it's not maybe as necessarily detrimental as some of us think.
You know what's wild to me is this dude's going to end up spending his life in prison with women sending him letters.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like that creep that threw his daughters into the oil containers.
Yep.
Up in northern Colorado.
Yes. Yep.
Chris was his name, I think.
I don't remember, but yeah.
But that guy ends up with, conjugal visits, and those types of women are always weird.
Oh, absolutely. I don't understand. What's the attraction there? I don't know.
The bad boy attract.
No, but there's part of me though. Okay, this is just kind of being a little facetious, perhaps, but there's part of me that thinks that maybe, if you're starting a relationship, having them in prison might be one of the best things because they're not stepping out on you. You know where they are. You can
read their mail.
Exactly. You can decide when you want to visit them. You're like, ooh, sorry, visitation hour is over. Got to go. They're not sleeping over. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, tongue in cheek, but still, just saying.
Well, this portion of the show is brought to you by Cato's Coffee. It's what we drink when we start our day. We're so appreciative of them. Not only are they sponsoring the show, but this is a company that was founded by Steve in honor of his dog Cato. And when you purchase this great coffee, proceeds go to support animal welfare and eco-friendly practices. They've got incredible, delicious flavor profiles, expertly roasted for smooth, flavorful experience every time. If coffee's not your thing, they also have delicious teas. You can shop online merchandise and find something for you and your furry friend. Upgrade your morning ritual with Cato's Coffee. Visit catoscoffee.com. That's spelled KATOSKOFFEE.com. KATOSKOFFEE.com. Find something to suit your taste today. And if you use the code Jeff and Bill 10, Jeff and Bill 10, no spaces, Jeff and Bill 10 at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount on your order. Visit catoscoffee.com, KATOSKOFFEE.com. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.